bit of a different type of stream and show. So if you're joining us, thank you. You can find us Twitter at AmNationPod and on Instagram at AmNationPod. YouTube, search Amalgamation Nation. You can find us all there. Of course, on podcast platforms, Spotify, Google, Apple, all of those. Go ahead and search Amalgamation Nation. You'll find us on there. Last night we did a stream where we talked sports, and it was a lengthy stream. Very, very lengthy. Because we hadn't done one in 2 weeks. It was fun. But I was like, I finished it, I'm like, boy, I can't do 2-hour streams like that. I just can't. But that was because we'd been gone for so long, so we had a lot to get to. If you're looking for that podcast version, it's not out because my audio is really shitty. But right now, it's not. So I'm going to attempt at this time to actually record this audio too at the same time and put it up on podcast services tomorrow. But so really funny. Afterwards, yesterday, you mentioned to me, "Hey, we should do another Amalgamation Addresses the Nation, like a political show, and talk about everything that happened." Like we didn't do one before when they were talking about passing the bill originally, the stimulus check, because it was about like there's so much in there. Neither of us took the time, had the time to go in there and dive in and like see all the buffoonery and fuckery that was in there. So we're like, meh.
Yeah. And part of it was too is that, we were about to go into like the break, and I think you need some decompression time. I need some decompression time. And so that is two things. So forgive us for that. And then also because that was also the spending bill for the next year. So that's why there's so much to go through it, because it was tacked on there. And so that's why you saw all this money going to foreign nations, which I'm not saying it isn't upsetting, because it is. Mm-hmm. But that's why there was so much to go through. And so I think people can at least forgive us for that for the most part. I hope.
Yes.
If not, we're going to do better.
Well, the best part is talk about decompressing and everything, and then like immediately just to start the week, we just get bombarded. Because you like I said, you mentioned it to me yesterday. And I'm like, oh yeah, we'll do it later this week. That's cool. The Senate race runoffs will be done in Georgia. We can talk a little bit about that. We can talk about get kind of excited for Joe Biden and getting ready to take over. And like I honestly thought it would be kind of more of a chill show, and wasn't going to be too much to get into. And I will tell you, Trump and his I don't have a good word for him, so I'm not going to say it, but the legion, right, of just degenerates, decide.
Obviously, the first ghostwriter. I don't know if you see it with Nicolas Cage, where one guy goes, "We are legion." No, I always think of that whenever I hear it. So it flashed into my head, and if people haven't seen that first Ghost Rider movie, you're not missing much, to be wholly honest. But look at that little snippet, and then that might make you smile.
I was gonna say, yeah, you're not missing a whole ton of those. But so today, right? So last night, got off to finish the show. I turned on the news real quick, and I was like, I just want to see where this runoff's at, right? Because me and many other Americans right now are sitting there thinking, I'd like to get a $2,000 stimulus. So how is that possible, right? And big reason, the main way that's possible is for the Democrats to hold the Senate. So I just wanted to turn it on and see how it was going. I saw Warnock clinched it. I was like, that's awesome. Good for him. And then Ossoff, they said, it looks like he's going to win, but it'll be kind of close. We won't know until probably either really late at night or into the morning. Okay, cool. But once they showed like the counties and shit, of what they needed. I was like, oh, this is just like the presidential election all over again. Atlanta coming through. Shout out to you. Georgia's on my mind. And they got it done. That was really cool. I was like, that would be fun to talk about. And then, today, January 6th, after an election, is when it's in the Constitution. It's in, it's written in there. That's when they meet. And basically, the vice president sits there in front of the Senate, and the House do their thing. And they basically are like, hey, these are the electorals for this state. These are the electorals for this state. And he just opens the envelope and he's like, yep. And he puts it away. It's really just a thing they do. They do it on January 6th. That's just how it is. And it's usually not a big deal at all. It's actually more of like a celebration because it's like, oh yeah, we're going into either, the next president, or we're going into the second term. And, it's all that. And that's cool. But in the society in America that we're in currently, there's a lot more eyes on it because we have a president, and I'm going to use that term very loosely for him, and Donald Trump, that is worked overtime and then some to tear away the fabric of democracy, to undermine democracy to a point that it is so disturbing. And he held a rally today with all the Trumpers out there. And at one point during his rally, he talked about the election was stolen from us, and then it's all this bullshit, and then he's talked about we're going to storm the Capitol. Well, they literally stormed the Capitol. They stormed the Capitol building like terrorists, domestic terrorists, and that's what we're going to call them. Broke into the Capitol building. Were in the different chambers. One individual was in Nancy Pelosi's office. I think they wrote on some manila folder like we're not done yet, or we're coming back, or some crazy shit. And it was just deeply, deeply upsetting. So you reached out and you said, because you were very upset all day, and you said, we should just do this. We got to do this. And I was like, all right, I'm in. So I'm going to start with here, BK. I'll let you kind of decompress yourself a little bit.
Yeah. So I will start off by apologizing to everyone that's listening live or listening after the fact on many of the podcast networks that you so graciously talked about earlier. That this show will probably be slightly more disjointed, less organized than our podcasts normally are. If you guys think they're already disjointed and unorganized, they're actually not. We do have notes. There's actually shared notes that we all have and look at and everything it contribute to. We do have some notes for today, but I mostly wanted to do this, especially today, while stuff is kind of fresh, just to kind of talk things out with you, and then also the people, essentially, because I think that's a super important thing to do when you have landmark moments like this in American history. You really just have to talk it out. You gotta just you got to kind of get out of your own head, because that can be dangerous for sure. You have to talk to someone else and just feel it out. So, and that's what we're going to be doing a lot of. We're going to have some snippets in here. We got some, definitions and other stuff, but this will be, so boxy at times. And, and we're going to come off across as sad and frustrated because, frankly, it was a grave day for Americans and for democracy everywhere. A lot of Americans and a lot of other countries consider America, the hub of freedom. And today that was not the case. When they stormed the Capitol building, they were trying to prevent democracy. These people were weaponized by falsehoods, by lies, and they were emboldened by JT to do these things. He kind of dug in to their fears and their conspiracies about the government and the world at large, to be honest with you. And you saw what happens when deified figures do that. And and I say deified, and you're like, Brendan, why? They're not treating him like a god. Well, they kind of are. Look at all the flags and everything. Like I said, and in the shirts, I've seen all the shirts. I've seen flags where he's, holding the two machine guns like Rambo and just mowing down people. And you see a lot of imagery like this. And honestly, Stacey Abrams, as we talked about, she did a great thing getting Warnock really. She got a lot of traction with him. She was doing a lot of groundwork. And I saw some people that were kind of praising her a little bit. And it's okay to praise, but when they were kind of having her face superimposed over Jesus and everything like that, it's okay, that's too far. You shouldn't deify any political figure, because that's when you get into that's very dicey territory.
I will tell you, I really enjoyed the one of her as Lady Tyrell. It's tell Donald I want him to know it was me. I was like, yeah,
see,
that's good.
That's okay. That's not deifying. I don't think it is. I think that was more me more. That one, I guess I can see how that goes both. But we cannot deify political figures whatsoever, because that will ultimately go to their head and they're going to want more power. That's the opposite of what we want. We want someone to get in there, and whether it be 4 years or 8 years, and just try to do the best for Americans. And then guess what? Need to go home.
When you lose an election, you need to leave gracefully. I'm going to point out something here. In 2016, I didn't really consider myself on one side or the other. I was both these candidates really suck. Like, they're just bad. But I did see after Trump won, a lot of Hillary supporters were upset, shocked, right? I think a lot of Americans were honestly shocked. But these the Trump supporters all said, stop being a crybaby. You have to accept it. You lost. Get over it. Here we are now, almost 5 years, a little over 4 years later, and they are upset that they lost. Can't believe it. It was stolen from them. The election was rigged. That's in their opinions.
Yeah.
So much that they felt that we should storm the Capitol building, which, Joe Biden called it like the sanctity or the sanctuary of democracy. It truly is. And the fact that happened, the fact that it was just handled so poorly, like, everyone's seeing it now. I mean, you're seeing the images of like how armed to the teeth they were during the Black Lives Matter movement versus this. And the attorney general for DC was talking a little bit ago before we got on. I was listening to him, and he was discussing. He's like, I want you to show the side by side, because the difference here is during the Black Lives Matter moment, with people from all different races and creeds and everything, they were coming together, protesting peacefully in Washington, D.C., walking down the boulevard, and there was no indication or word that there was going to be any type of like storming the Capitol building or storming any of the buildings, anything like that. Where in this situation, they were barely armed, and they even were aware of the possibility of them trying to storm the Capitol building.
Yeah.
It is a indication of the sad state of this country. It is truly, truly upsetting. I get it. I understand everyone's entitled to their own political opinions and political beliefs, and like that's just how it goes. We're not all going to think one way. We're not all going to think the other. But this isn't really a Democrat versus a Republican thing, a liberal versus conservative thing. No. This is someone that cares and loves democracy versus somebody that wants to attack that, and it's wrong. It's right and wrong. It's black. This is is black and white. It's not. There's no gray. There's no middle ground here.
No.
Donald Trump, the current president for like another 14 or 13 days, possibly, is.
I will see.
I would hope so. After this, he incited a riot. He should go to jail. He should be arrested. Okay, there's other times that I've thought that to myself too, and like I've never talked to people at work, and they're like, he should go to jail, like for certain things that have happened. But in this case, it's painted right there, all over the place, right? He then, Joe Biden went out and talked today, right? I was listening to that, and he came out and said, like, this is not who we are as Americans. This is not how we're supposed to act. What is wrong with this? And he called on Donald Trump to do his job, because it's like, oh, hey, Joe, yes. Why are they storming and rioting? Because, yes, they believe the election was rigged. Like, it's super, and you're right, it is super weird. Like, why?
Yeah, it goes back to the, sorry to cut you off, the Dominion machines. They think it all goes to Dominions, the Venezuelans and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Reading the machines, they thought that at some point that some people swapped, or what do you say in the phone call, like that they swapped out the inner parts for different inner parts to rig it, and then there was also a picture, literally just a picture that I can take in my office at work of just shredded paper in trash bins, and someone was like, "Yep, that's the proof right there, the rigged election." I was like, "All right, need to take a step back, breathe, try to use our brains.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, sorry, I just wanted to give that background information there. So
Yeah.
I apologize for cutting you off. Continue.
Oh no, you're good. It's just my point was like you have this president where was it 62, 63 court cases now he lost all of them.
Oh yeah, I mean I can't remember. I stopped keeping count.
I was hoping he would hit
because
69. I was really hoping it would, and I know it didn't. But he kept losing in different states. Do you know why? Because there was no evidence of widespread voter fraud. Okay? The thing is, and like I said, I mentioned this at the beginning of the show. When you talk back, because this is where I'm seeing a lot of the Republican argument is, well, remember the Democrats and this hoax with Russia. And, okay. All right. They weren't inciting riots. They weren't inciting this group of people to go storm a government building. Okay? That is uncalled for. It's terrorism. It's what it is.
And think about how fast this all happened, too.
Yeah.
This all happened in a span of hours. We're not talking about, like, days. Like, because the Russian investigation took some time, and there weren't any protests after all that came out. Yeah, people were still whining. Absolutely. Was it annoying? Absolutely. The Black Lives Matter protests were completely separate. So some people have like been comparing them. I'm like, nah, fam, they are different. I hate to tell you that, unfortunately. And I think what was so upsetting, or one of the parts that was upsetting today, because there's just a lot of upsetting parts, was the posing of pictures with police posing with the people as like letting some people in, and then the people themselves posing for pictures in the chambers and everything like that, making a mockery of democracy. Then taking down American flags, taking them down and replacing them with Trump flags. At that point, that's a coup, because you are trying to overthrow the government and instill your own. And so I have in the notes here the definition of a coup. So, a coup d'etat, according to Merriam-Webster, pretty reputable dictionary, I think we can all agree, a sudden, decisive exercise of force in politics. I think that was today. Especially the violent overthrow or alteration of an existing government by a small group. Now, I wish small wasn't in there. It's just saying the definition is more or less saying there the group doesn't have to be large. It can be a small group and it's still a coup.
Yeah, no, 100%. Metal Mike, I could deal with Pence being president for 2 weeks. I think I can too. At this point. So totally. What really got it? Here's the problem. More issues as we'll continue to process through this. But one of the questions we have to ask ourselves is can Donald Trump remain president for the next 2 weeks, basically, as he's got left? And my answer to that is I don't believe so. Only a big one, that he incited a riot. That's one big key here, and you can't accept that he lost. Two, as we're hearing and all the news is coming out, what happened today, right? It started happening. They had to get the people out of the chambers, get them to a safe spot, right? Because they were storming the fucking Capitol building, and the whole time, trying to figure out, okay, do we get the National Guard in? Whose National Guard do we bring in? Do we bring in the D.C. National Guard? Do we bring in Virginia? Do we bring in Maryland? All this shit. Can the D.C. police just handle it? What's going on? Do we need more police officers? He wasn't a part of any of the chain of command to deal with that. He's the president of the United States of America. Don't care whether you give a shit about politics or not. Well, one, if you don't, you're probably not listening to the stream. That's cool. But if you do, which I'm assuming is why you're listening, you have to. We talked about this earlier, before the election, right? About holding that office to a higher standard. Absolutely. And yes. We're in this same situation again, but even on a worse scale.
Yeah, I can't remember if this is a direct quote or not, but at least in my opinion, he's not acting like the president of the United States of America, and he never really has. He's acting like the president of Trumpers.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't ever trying to do the best for America as a whole, which is, whether you're president or not, there's going to be a ton of people that don't vote for you, but you're still representing them to a certain degree. And I feel like he never acted that way. And today proved it. I mean, he held a rally on purpose. There were even shirts made. I saw them, people at the rally today talking about, it said Civil War on it, and had today's date. So you're telling me today wasn't planned?
Yeah.
Well, I think we're going to say, like last time, kindly get the fuck out or kindly fuck you.
Yeah.
Same fucking situation.
It's true. It is so true.
It's what's worse too is this came out not too long ago. House of Delegates member Derek Evans, a Republican from West Virginia, was part of a mob storming the Capitol today. He put it on social media like a fucking moron, I might add. His brain's probably not wrinkled at all. And then deleted it, but it was too late by then. Literally, of himself doing it. So that's also concerning, is that the elected officials, and he's just one. We haven't even gotten to the other ones. Like I think you barely touched on a Ted Cruz and his name Josh Watley.
The Whip.
I'm getting his. No. What's his fudging name?
I don't remember his name either.
From Missouri.
Oh, then I really don't remember his name.
Yeah, he was kind of emboldening all this as well. Like, and anyone that's, I'll say embolden a lot and fuck off again. It's just that when you're just inciting a riot like this, you're not just endangering the democratically elected people. You're also endangering the people of DC and just the people of America in general. Yeah, and he's harming everyone.
Exactly. I did see a lot of people that we follow, and people that follow us are from DC, and obviously thoughts that they stay safe. That was something I tweeted out to a few people I knew. Because
Senator Josh Hawley. Sorry.
There it is. Because to me, it was like, it's unbelievable what they're doing. You're going through right now. When we talk about civil war, listen, I don't know what it is. I don't know. That's right, Carlos. It's all fake news, primo. I don't know what it is about southern states or Trumpers that have this, because it feels like a lot of Trump supporters also really gravitate to the Confederate flag a lot. That's just what you see circulating.
You saw the pictures today of the Confederate.
You want to talk about pissing me off? When I saw the fucking asshole walking through the Capitol building with a Confederate flag. My God. And, the talks about Abe Lincoln, founder of the Republican Party. And it would be rolling in his grave with what went down today. Frank, yes, it is a lack of education, 100%. It is completely a lack. It is something where you believe in this person so much that Donald Trump, 4 years told you all the media is fake. Everything it tells you is fake. The news cycles that he loved, Fox News, he's like, they're great. And then when Fox News did the right thing, and Fox News is like, no, he lost, Joe Biden is going to be your president, well, he said, fuck you too, Fox News, fuck you. I'm going to go do this, or I'm going to do that. I want to know people like Tommy Lorraine, Sarah Gonzalez from The Blaze, all these people that have done nothing but stroke the flames of this disgustingness. How can you accept this? Carlos says they climb the Capitol walls, get in the They climb the walls, get in the Capitol, but it's illegal when I do it. Unreal. Oh, primo. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That was awesome, Carlos. Cheers to you, sir.
Oh man.
Cheers to you. That was good. That was good. See, well, I'll say this like right now. It would almost be awesome if we could maybe do a show every now and then. It's like we'll have like live in somehow. I don't know. Yeah. That would be super cool. If we just had people just call in. If we had a Frank or Primo call in, just
or
like
people jump into the Discord. Yeah,
that'd be really funny. Just the off topic there, real quick. So sorry about that.
Oh no, it's okay. I do believe though this is just so. Like everything that happened is just it's shining a really nasty light, and it's just to me was so upsetting. I saw somebody take a picture at the Gerald Ford statue, and he had the Trump flag in the statue's hand and like this hat, and I was just like, this isn't okay. It can't, like, it just bothers me really bad. It really does, and it's just appalling. I don't know how. Well, honestly, I don't care how, because if you're gonna defend it, just kindly fuck off. But like, it's just it's a disgrace. It's truly what it is, a disgrace.
So this is, like I think I said this in the pre-show, that this is a day that will live in infamy. This is something that you're going to tell your kids and you're going to tell your grandkids about. This is just like when 9/11 happened. That was a absolutely monumental day in American history, an incredibly sad day, and thankfully not as many lives were lost today. Thankfully, but this is still a giant stain upon America's democracy and how misinformation, the lack of information, have indoctrinated and convoluted the way of thinking of these people that thought their actions today were justified. And going back to the news thing real quick is that, a lot of fascist leaders, like if you want to go to Mussolini here, just fascist leader of Italy, helped start fascism, by the way, started his own newspaper. That's how, because the newspapers in Italy wouldn't report and talk about the stuff that he wanted them to. So, started his own. It's how it's done. It's one of the first steps to convince everyone else that what you're hearing is, no, it's not true. I can't prove it. It's bullshit, even though they did prove it. And so then they go through other channels. And so the internet made this incredibly easy. That is the catch-22 of the internet. We have such rapid-fire communication, like right now. We're live streaming this. It's incredible if you sit back and think about it. I mean, I remember getting cable fucking internet when I was
dial up.
Yeah, I remember dial up. I remember that shit. And when we got cable, we were like, "Dad, can I download Napster so we can like download music?" And he was like, "Yeah." And he was like, because that was, it was so cool that we had this access to communicate at this rapid fire speed, and that has made these dark thoughts of people, these dark ideas come to the forefront more because they can broadcast them more easily and can find a haven. And so that's why, like the info wars, and that's why you see all these guys, and then all these fucking televangelist motherfuckers. Sorry for the language, people. I do apologize, but
I don't. It's okay.
Apologize. Here, I'll drink one just because I said motherfuckers, and I said it again. So two
for you. 2 for you.
Yeah, 2 for me. All right. Who spread lies, and what's crazy is that they profit off of it. A lot of these people are making very good money to spread lies, and guess what? At the end of the day, they don't care about you. They don't care what happens to America or democracy. They're looking out for numero uno, and that's themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not... Listen, I can sit here and I can get into the whole churches getting involved in the politics thing, and it'll take me a good hour to rant on that, because the fact is you don't get taxed. So you should shut the fuck up and get in line. But
for another Politicast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because like I said, get in line. But like Carlos to the point, I'm sorry, but this is embarrassing. The world is basically laughing at us. Yeah, they are. And like I touched upon, Joe Biden had this speech, and it was fine and it was good, and he called upon Trump to do his duty and to say something. This man did a video. First off, did the video not even in front of the fucking like a podium with the White House symbol or in the White House itself. No, he did this some fucking video. He's standing in front of the lawn. The only podium he stood in front of today was one that said Trump on it. That's it. Where he basically like it was such a half-assed video, and he's telling them that he loves them and he knows they're upset. But no. That is not your duty. And then there's word all day then after that like his people around him were like, sir, you need to like de-escalate this now. You need to. And he didn't want to do it. He was too focused on being upset about Mike Pence for quote unquote being a traitor, where Mike Pence was doing his job. Mike Pence was doing his duty as the vice president.
Mike Pence can't even do anything. Like,
exactly, but this is the thing.
It's just more of a ceremonial bullshit thing.
He's spinning it in a way where these people that you're not educated, or you don't know what a Google machine is, maybe on your phone, I don't know, you can't figure it out that the vice president doesn't have the power to just say, fuck these votes, they don't count. He literally, like I mentioned in the beginning, sits there, like, yep, that's Illinois for Biden. That's 25 electorals over here. Oh, Alabama for Trump. Yep, 10 electorals. Here you go. Like, that's it. That's all he does. The votes have been decided. That's already been done. The people that in each state, that are their electorates, they already did that. It's done. It's over with. He's just viewing. It's just a ceremony they fucking do to celebrate democracy. Usually no one gives a fuck about it, like I said. But we're in a weird time. So now people give a shit, apparently. Right? And for all the wrong reasons. And then he did tweet out. He did tweet out right before getting his Twitter banned. He did tweet out and said, "These are the things and events that happen when a sacred landslide election victory is so unceremoniously and viciously stripped away from great patriots who have been badly and unfairly treated for so long. Go home with love and peace. Remember this day forever." Yes, America is going to remember this day forever because it's going to be a giant eyesore on this country, a stain on democracy, because he is a wannabe dictator piece of shit. That is who Donald Trump is. Got his Twitter banned for that, I think for like 12 hours. The president, I got to say that again. Hold on. I got to say that one more time. The president of the United States got Twitter banned. What? How?
Yeah, it goes back to what you brought up earlier, and we'll probably harp a lot on that today because, he's acting like a leader, kind of respecting the office, like you're the leader of the United States of America. You need to act like it, and then also a common thread of what you saw him today do today, is that he did not condemn the actions once again. He was saying, "Oh, I love you," blah, blah, that's false. But he never said, "Go the fuck home. The violence is wrong. You're ruining democracy." Mm-hmm. He never said anything like that. Just like in the debate, he never condemned racism and everything like that in the Proud Boys. And he said,
QAnon and all that, yeah.
He did it after the fact, not on national TV when it was on Fox News like a day or so later. But when he was on the debate stage and more people were watching, he could have easily said it. He chose not to for a reason. He did the same thing again. It's a logical choice. He's doing that intentionally to rile his base. Mm-hmm. He's trying to give them more ammunition because he's played into fear perfectly. Dictators do that. So the North Koreans, like it's one of the longest running modern day dictatorships now. The Kims. I think we all know them. Kim Jong-un, Kim Jong-il, Kim Song-il. So, how have they worked this out? It's gotten better now, but they kept constant fear in the people of North Korea. Oh, Big Bad America is going to come attack us any day.
Yeah.
That's what they did. They would play it over the loudspeakers. They still play it a bunch over the loudspeakers every day. And a lot of their learning is based around fear. That is how you control people, because when people are afraid, they have fear in their hearts. They're going to get back to the court, and they're going to become a little cagey. They're going to become cagey. They're going to act out.
Speaking of cages, Carlos says, this wouldn't have happened if that kid didn't jump into Harambe's cage. It's true. Melissa, our world is fucked up. Frank, did you see the Tucker Carlson video? I don't know which one. So I did. I'm gonna say I didn't.
Drop the link, Frank. Drop the link.
So I'm not sure. And Carlos wants to know what the fuck is the Proud Boys.
It's I don't want to say neo-Nazi. It's a deeply conservative right-wing group.
White supremacist group.
Yeah. Just hell-bent on anarchy, honestly.
They probably also believe that Donald Trump is a time-traveling hero, Carlos. They probably do. Just like QAnon. Great. Fantastic.
QAnon, that was my...
Man, I'll tell you, but I will tell you this. This is so crazy to me. As someone that grew up was no, Carlos, no. As somebody who grew up, I was only in third grade when 9/11 happened. So a lot of my memory of George W. Bush is him going to war with Iraq and being told like weapons of mass destruction, and then like as I got older, reading and being like, wow, this guy's a fucking idiot. However, George W. Bush has basically, ever since he finished his 2 terms, that was it. Stayed out of it. Didn't really say anything. As we got towards this election, he started to come out a little bit more and was like, no, we have to do this, blah, blah, blah. And then he congratulated Joe Biden, and then we have all this stuff with the vaccine. That's a whole other issue for a different time, but he even said it, Obama, and Bill Clinton said they would go out and televise, get the vaccine so people could see him. It's all this stuff. But George W. Bush did put out a statement, and it was far better than anything Trump could have possibly even tried to write himself or have anybody write for him. But it says, Laura and I are watching the scenes of mayhem unfolding at the seat of our nation's government in disbelief and dismay. It is sickening and heartbreaking sight. This is how election results are disputed in a banana republic, not our democratic republic. I am appalled by the reckless behavior of some political leaders since the election and by the lack of respect shown today for our institutions, our traditions, and our law enforcement. The violent assault on the Capitol and disruption of the constitutionally mandated meeting of Congress was undertaken by people whose passions have been inflamed by falsehoods and false hopes. Insurrection could do grave damage to our nation and reputation. In the United States of America, it is fundamental responsibility of every patriotic citizen to support the rule of law. To those who are disappointed in the results of the election, our country is more important than the politics of the moment. Let the officials elected by the people fulfill their duties and represent our voices in peace and safety. May God continue to bless the United States of America. That is how a leader is supposed to respond.
I'm not even a huge George Bush fan. I remember, just 9/11, I was in 8th grade. I remember it happening, and I was living in Maryland at the time, and we got out of school early like that day and everything because we were close by. DC's not far from where I grew up. And then I remember my 9th grade year, I was in history class with Mr. Hill, and he put on the initial invasion of Iraq and the bombing rates and everything. And he was like, you need to remember this day. He was like, this is an important day. He was like, stuff's going down. And for all the negative things you can say about Bush is that he did a great job of, especially of kind of reuniting the nation there. Stepping up and being a leader. I wasn't really playing party politics at that point. And the fact is, Trump hasn't done that one bit. I mean, Washington, D.C. is at a curfew, and it seems like a very soft curfew. It was supposed to start at 6 p.m., but people were still out. The National Guard is being called in. Trump didn't call him in. Pence did, and the DOD. Trump's butt puppet, McElhaney, I don't even know how you say her last name, but I don't really care. She was trying to tweet out lies about it, and it was immediately called out by everyone, and I don't know, she's since deleted that, so It sucks, man.
It sure does. Frank, thanks for the video. I will check that out as soon as we finish so I can listen to it. But I'll tell you this, it's just, yeah, it is really shitty. You know, Obama. I was waiting because I was talking to Carlos earlier, and I was like, man, that's so weird. We were watching at lunch yesterday. I think it was TMZ was on, and it showed Obama on vacation in Hawaii, and he's out there like paddle surfing and shit. Well, that's super dope. This man's chilling. And then today he's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, you know, and I have this on behind me, and I'm not really paying too much attention to it right now, but I was really curious because after everything that happened, I think everybody was really hoping that then we could get back to because Congress decided, no, we're going to do this tonight. To make it official.
Finally.
Yeah, like
they take a lot of days off and still get paid, so I'm glad that's fine.
Right. And they're like, no, let's go back and let's do this. But then they were calling, there's a lot of pressure on the Republicans, the ones who I guess are pro-Trump here, and to back down from that and to be like, okay, after everything that happened, maybe we shouldn't, like, this isn't the time and place to get into this discussion, right? And you know, if you want to get into the debate about whether the election process needs to be fixed, there's a time and place for that, and it's not right now. So,
yeah.
And that's 100% the truth, especially after the circumstances that they face today. One person I know so far has died. They didn't say whether she was a part of the riot or whatever it was. So I don't know. Carlos, motherfuckers get a $600 stimmy and start acting wild. It's true. It's true, man. They do. They're acting different out here. It's just.
According to Tommy Loren,
yeah,
they probably didn't even qualify for the 600 stimmy because they're such good, hardworking Americans, and they don't have time to protest and be terrorists and storm the Capitol building because they were supposed to be at work today. Like I was working. I got up early and got my ass to work.
Elaine and Frank both say she was a part of the protest and she was inside the building. Well, then this is what I'm going to tell you.
I was inside, but I wasn't sure.
Here's where I'm going to say this, and this is my opinion. When you do shit like this, and those things happen, that's the definition of fuck around and find out. So maybe don't do illegal shit like storm a Capitol building. Okay? I'm shocked that more people weren't shot because if this was a Black Lives Matter movement, oh my God, there would have been blood all over the place. All fucking over the place. And that is why a lot of people are also pissed off. Like, why is it? Like, this is the definition of privilege in America. Why is it that you allowed all these people to... You talk about... we talked about in the pre-show, walking that girl down the steps. Really? Really? After all the videos we saw over the summer during the protests and what police officers were doing? You know, the whole contradictory thing of these people, you know, the Trump supporters and everything, they were the ones telling you, well, blue lives matter. Blue lives matter. Well, did they, though? Because you were yelling at them in their face. There was people telling them, don't worry, we're going to come back with assault rifles. We're going to do this and that. Fuck you, cop, blah, blah, blah. Well... Attacking
the Capitol Police with the thin blue line police American flag.
It's literally pure hypocrisy.
So, the irony is astounding. And when I first heard about the woman who unfortunately lost her life today, I initially thought it was, my mind immediately triggered to anger, where I was like, oh, it was definitely a terrorist storming, and I was just like, and I had that initial human emotion of just blood boiling anger. It was just like, fuck her, she's just a fucking piece of shit. But then it's like, I have to, and I think we all have to, we have to take a step back and realize, and shout out to Elaine, because we were sending some messages back and forth today as to where I think you almost have to try to work past that initial anger and still feel sadness because someone did lose their life. And like that sucks. You know, someone who had been radicalized by this tyrant. He was a tyrannical, fascist dictator. He radicalized these people through lies, and it cost someone their life. She's not coming home.
Right.
Loved ones do not get to see her again. And that's not fair. That is not fair. He needs to be held accountable. And that's why I'll get in quickly here to the 25th Amendment. It is part of the United States Constitution that says if the president becomes unable to do his job, the vice president, Mike Pence in this case, becomes the president. This can happen for just a little while if the president is just sick or disabled for a short time. That's kind of the Spark Notes version. But the majority of either principals of office and executive departments can get together, or other bodies of Congress can implore that 25th Amendment be invoked to take the president out of power if they are being unjust and cannot do the job correctly and justly. And so there are rumors. I'm putting quotes because they are literally rumors. That's why I'm doing that. There's people in Trump's cabinet that are talking about it with Pence to proceed forward with that. And this would be a landmark moment on top of a landmark day, top of a landmark week. And honestly, we were supposed to be getting super fucking excited for the first week of NFL playoff football this weekend. Honestly, we were supposed to be fucking getting excited about this. I mean, think of all the Cleveland people. They've waited here 2 decades to finally get in there. And we may not take games this weekend or anything like that. It's not going to be the news of the day or anything like that. Fuck. I feel bad for them too. This is supposed to be like an exciting time. We're supposed to kind of put 2020 behind us. We're supposed to learn, get better, get stronger, and move forward. And then it just seems like America was trying to do that. And like I said, this tyrannical fascist fuck. I'll drink. Sorry.
There it is.
Causing such civil unrest on purpose because ultimately he's a whiny fucking baby. He didn't get his way because he's used to getting that because he got all of his money from daddy. He's never had to work hard. I hate that. He's never had to work fucking hard. If he would have been a billionaire. But guess what? He's fucking not.
Mm-hmm.
Like, self-made man, suck my balls.
Carlos says, in my opinion, it will get worse if they do implement the 25th Amendment. Yo, of course, you're going to continue to incite a riot because they're going to take away their Lord and Savior from the future, Donald J. Trump. Like 2020 is like that obsessive ex, obsessive ex-girlfriend that won't let go of us after a breakup. I will tell you.
That's a great one. Thanks, Lane. That was really good.
I was feeling really good about the new year. I was like, cool, got the show back going, doing some new things. That's awesome. No booze for January. And I will tell you, it took everything in my being to not have a drink when I got home. Only because I was like, this is insane. Right. So BK's drinking for me because I was like, man, this is nuts. Yeah, invoking the 25th Amendment is an option. What I want is to make sure he can't run again. That's all I want.
And then part of that goes into the 14th Amendment.
Mm-hmm.
For people that don't know the 14th Amendment, and like I said, I don't know all these word for word. This goes back to our loose base notes that may or may not exist.
This is all helping Carlos for his citizenship test. You're welcome. You're welcome, sir.
Thankfully, there was slits in the wall that they were putting up, so he doesn't have to climb. Yeah. So he can just squeeze on through.
That boy.
I was thinking knocked up. Hopefully you've seen that. He's just like, I can't tell you to legally lose weight, but just tighten up.
Yeah.
So Just tighten.
Just tighten.
All right, real quick. So back to Section 3 specifically of the 14th Amendment. No person shall be a senator, representative in Congress, or elector of president and vice president will hold any office, civil or military, under the United States. Under any state, who having previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States, or as a member of any state legislature. There's so many commas in here. Sorry, it's hard to read with just so many commas. As an executive or judicial officer of any state to support the Constitution of the United States shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. The Congress may by a vote of 2/3 of each house remove such disability. So, insurrection is the key word there.
George Bush used it.
Yep. It's going to be brought up on multiple occasions, not just for Trumpy Dumpy there, DJT, but we're talking like Ted Cruz and like Josh Hawley. The Republican from Oklahoma who was speaking, I can't remember his name now, he was speaking when everything started happening at the Capitol building and he had to be rushed off. He came on to speak immediately, and he was originally like kind of protesting the election results, and now he's kind of changed his tune.
Or so, the representative from Illinois that quoted Hitler.
Oh, man.
Couldn't tell you her name. Don't give a fuck about her name. But I do know she quoted Hitler. And,
Hitler got one thing right. Not a great way to start off a sentence. Paragraph, book, thought, idea, movie, comedy. Just to start anything logical that you want to present as an argument to anyone.
Yeah.
But in her defense, she was not talking to logical people.
Yeah.
It was at the rally, so
she knew her.
Hear my dog. He is just going nutso.
KYP, know your personnel. I get it. She knew who she was talking to. I get it. Fucking.
She was. It was going back to playing into the fears, playing into the base. Oh yeah, this was stolen. And then the Hitler thing, done on purpose, because, like we've said, he's played into the neo-Nazis. Mm-hmm. He's played into that idea. Guess what? Guess who neo-Nazis love?
Hitler.
Wow. Boom. Yes, they do. The National Socialist Parties, a.k.a. Nazis.
It is some wild shit that we're dealing with currently here in America. People around the world are upset. They're angry. They're just laughing at us at the same time. Also, can't forget to mention this. Pipe bombs were located at the Capitol building headquarters for the DNC and the RNC. So they went after everybody. They were found, though, and they were all detonated safely, so everything's cool. When we started these notes, when BK started them, he said, so far, 13 arrests have been made. It is developing as we find out. I will tell you that I listened. They had the mayor of D.C. on, and she just, she really didn't want to answer the question about how many people, were they going to arrest people or not. And I was like, this is a really easy question to answer. Yeah, motherfucker, there's a curfew. If you don't get where the fuck you need to go, we're going to arrest you. I understand there's a lot of other things about it. The reason they couldn't just stop random people, they were saying, is because there were also people that were just out and about after work and shit in D.C.
Yeah,
and hard. I get that, but, also a big thing, too, for all these dumb motherfuckers who had their pictures and all that shit, there you go, all over the place. I don't know if they know this, but there's cameras all over the Capitol building, in the halls, everywhere. They have facial recognition, all of it. All right, you're done. Send them to jail. Let's move on. I'm done with it. Hopefully none of them ever reproduce anymore. Hopefully, if they probably already have, but don't want to do none more of that.
Like Harold and Kumar, send them to G-Bay.
That's right.
And so they can suck on Big Bob's dick.
That's right. It's just sad. This is such a sad day. I said I was really prepared. I'm doing the game of the year show tomorrow, and I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm hyped up about. I'm like, and then probably Friday or Saturday we'll get in. We'll talk about the Georgia runoffs. That would be cool. All of that stuff. And I just was like, wow, never mind. This shit's going to take a really crazy day. Carlos says, Trump told people he banned Pence's chief of staff from the West Wing. And also, Mike, does the audience have to drink on F-bombs too? Fuck yeah, you do, Mike. Make sure you take a drink.
Mike. Yeah. If not, Mike, you're just gonna have to drink double tomorrow. So
yeah,
dealer's choice in that case, bro.
Yeah, your choice. All you want to do. That is, yes, tomorrow, Game of the Year show. Can't wait. But I do feel better that we sat here and talked this out. I feel better. Still angry and upset and disappointed in this beautiful country that I love. But, damn.
And I'll get, a little...
Mike says fuck!
I imagine this just Mike, I was just like, fuck, and he's just currently just pouring liquor over the shot glasses at the house. He's like, fuck. And he's just trying just to down him real quick.
David's like, you can do him too for me, Mike. Go ahead. Do him for me.
I'm not gonna say where I work, but yeah, I live in North Carolina, and it was towards the end of the day at work, just because a lot of people I work with were literally defending the actions, like not figuratively, like literally I heard them say it with their mouth, quote unquote, that was there, defending the actions of what happened today at the Capitol. And it greatly upset me. And a higher up at my company, quote unquote, said a new world order.
Like the NWO from WCW, Hulk Hogan brother, for life.
And so, and that's, it made me upset, and I pretty much left work shortly after that, and then I had already, I didn't leave very early at all. But and talking this out, it does feel good, like you said. But what is still concerning is the indoctrination of that side of these people, to where they have rationalized all of this that they've done as acceptable behavior because everything was quote unquote stolen from them. The whole Russian hoax was a fake, but then of course, like, this is completely real, and it's like, well, now you're just speaking with forked tongue, hush your mouth, and that's the concerning part for me. And I'd like to hear your thoughts on that here in a second. Is just they don't want to look in the mirror and say, all right, like, this is what our American ideals, this is what America needs to be. They don't, in my opinion, they don't view it that way. They're just more or less, it's like, they don't care about America. And honestly, these people don't. That's why they flew a Trump flag. They don't care about America. And then even DJT's son said, this is Donald Trump's Republican Party now. That sounds threatening too. Like, it's this thinking to where it seems to me right now is that I don't know how to pierce that line of thought with reason, and that sucks,
Yeah, I mean, I'll start first and foremost. Listen, I am someone that I've been there. I'm bored. It's super late at night. I go on the YouTubes and I get really deep into some conspiracy things. Like, originally, it used to be aliens, which they've already said that's true and no one gives a fuck, but that's cool. The JFK shit, which, Mike, I know you listened to the last podcast on the left. They do a really great breakdown of all the JFK stuff. 9/11, all of those. But today at work, when I was informed by somebody, Carlos, they did it. Yeah, they didn't identify her. They were saying that she was part of the protest, I believe, the woman that died.
It's an accident. So more's coming out. Okay.
Yeah. I was informed that people believe in QAnon and all that shit, that they believe Donald Trump is a hero from the future, here to save everybody. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck that means. I'm like, okay. And he's like, no. You really need to look up this video, or you need to, like, read it. And I was like, all right, hold on. So I looked it up, and I'm, like, reading it, and I'm like, what the fuck is this, man? And it's just, that's an example of, like, how deteriorated these people are in their heads. And take a moment to get rid of that. I understand that each side has their, like, crazy motherfuckers. Like, I get, there's a far left and a far right. I understand that.
Absolutely.
Right? You know, you get the Antifa and all those crazy motherfuckers over here, and then you got QAnon and all these crazy motherfuckers over here. Right now, we're dealing with this side. We're dealing with the really far right side. So what I want to do is I want to sit here and I want to ask Republicans, regular Republicans, right? Regular members or people that believe in the GOP. How do you feel? How do you feel? Because, like you touched upon, Donald's son, this is not the Republican Party. This is Donald Trump's Republican Party. I just don't understand how you could be okay with that. If you're truly a Republican, right? There comes a time where, you know, what always has bothered me, both sides, is that, you know, you have people that just feel like, I have to die on this hill. I have to die on this blue side or this red side. And that's what it is. I'm either an ass or an elephant. Like, this is what it is. It's how it goes. There's no middle ground. And it's like, but there is, though. Like, as society has changed, I think we can start to see there should be way more room for more middle ground and be able to meet in the middle and talk and, you know, have real conversations. Real conversations. Which I know, like I've said it before, and I'll continue to say it. Listen, if you support Donald Trump, you can suck my left nut. That's true, because this isn't about whether you support the Republican Party. Okay, that's cool that you support the Republican Party, but you need to, like, get knowledgeable enough to understand that this person doesn't need to represent your Republican Party. But what he represents is pure evil and what's wrong with everything right now. You cannot tell me if you are somebody that doesn't express yourself as somebody that is a quote-unquote Trumper or a MAGA guy or lady, then you should be able to understand that. That's all. You have to sometimes take the party out of it in this situation, right? I mean, my biggest thing is, like I said, I referenced it earlier. Abraham Lincoln, founder of the Republican Party, goes down as one of the greatest presidents of all time.
Absolutely.
And he was murdered by somebody that probably would have been right along with all the MAGA hats wearing motherfuckers today. There you go, Mike, drink. And that, to me, and they just let them in. They let them waltz in to the Capitol. I mean, then once they started to get really into the fucking Capitol building, I saw the videos, the pictures of them boarding up the halls and people trying to break the windows and they're pointing the guns at them. And it's like, and Mikey represents bigotry and fake shit orange tans. Yes, sir. It is a big orange nasty stain on America, which is a nasty one. And it's just, like I said, I think that you got to understand there's no reasoning with this group of people. There is none. It's too far gone. They truly believe that the fairy tale that they've been fed is reality. And you can't change that. You just can't. But for all the normies, there's room to work and grow.
Absolutely. Yeah, I saw and I was getting down like the Twitter hole and I was seeing these comments from people that are like, oh, like that. Those aren't Trumpers. Those are Antifa people. Yeah. It's just like, and there was a lot of those comments, and I think you are right. That. Unfortunately, those people are too far gone. But I do blame people, even people that like voted for Trump, that condemn these actions, but like I almost still blame them to a certain degree because it's like, all right, we kind of saw some of these actions, some of these remarks by DJT while he was in office. We kind of saw this pattern of behavior. And you kind of said it was okay. You were willing to look the other way because he held the same ideals as you, which he really didn't. And so that's upsetting, it's just because I don't want to necessarily blame all the Republicans because that's not fair, because there's a lot of hard-working Republicans that did go to work today that
I mean, there's tons of Republicans I've talked to that have said, like I'm done. Like, this is unbelievable. Like, this is a disgrace. And there's some that are just trying to, like, pretend like this isn't happening because they just want to go back to normal. They want their normal, like, Bible Belt, typical Republican, like, abortions are bad, all the normals, tax the fuck out of me, or don't tax me, but you love oil, like, that's cool. Like, that's what they want. They want to go back to normal Republican. They want to go back to, like, George Bush or, John McCain or, like, anything like that. They don't want to associate with this anymore. And I get that. But unfortunately, this is what we're dealing with. And we can't run away from it. And we can't just turn our eye blind to it. And that is one of my biggest things. And yes, Mike, also, I was just telling Carlos about this earlier. In the middle of all of this, in the middle of Georgia going fully blue and it's super high excitement. Also, the Bulls won yesterday on a crazy 3 from Zach LaVine and then liked our tweet. Super cool. But then, in the middle of that, boom, we get all this bullshit and the rioting and the terrorist attack on the Capitol building. And then in the middle, Kim Kardashian and Kanye West are getting divorced. But then in the middle of all that supposedly Kanye West cheated on Kim Kardashian with Jeffree Star, and that was the cherry on top of my day.
I'm just hearing about this because I'm so tuned out of the Kardashian. I've never watched the show.
Supposedly he had a dick pic leak supposedly as well. In the middle of all this, and I'm like, damn, maybe Trump told him, you gotta do some wild shit for me, buddy, because they're pretty pissed. I don't know.
That is some wild stuff, and you touched upon it, and so I'll drive it home here about the Georgia runoffs. They were today, and like you said, you went to bed. You wanted to check on them. They were looking good. You even sent me a text. I was already in bed by the time you sent me that shit.
Georgia.
Georgia runoffs. Democrats John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock. Who doesn't love the name Raphael? Like a
Ninja Turtle, yeah.
Absolutely, and Renaissance artist, I
only remember
for Republicans, David Perdue, Kelly Loeffler, and just in case you're like, man, I've recognized that Loeffler name. She is one of the owners of the Atlanta Dream that was criticizing the Black Lives Matter movement done by the WNBA and specifically.
Maybe know your audience. You know what I mean? If you're Kelly Loeffler and you're upset about the WNBA doing stuff for that, maybe you know your audience. Yeah. Read the room.
There's, but to read the room in here in a second. The Democrats now control the majority in the Senate, and yay, that's good. But the fact is to where the Democrats still need to get shit done. Like we as constituents, as people, as Americans, do not take your foot off the gas. Like, we need reform. The system needs an overhaul. It needs to be changed. So pressure them, keep on them to kind of essentially do what they promised to do, to keep making America better. Because America's constantly evolving, just like with the moral compass of today. It's the moral compass of today is different than yesterday. It's the same thing. We're continuing to grow, and so. And I'll say, like, if the Democrats falter here, we'll absolutely blame them. And if they do, then fuck.
I'm gonna be pissed. Yeah, right, Frank. Where's my 2K stimulus? Hey, we gotta wait till Joe gets all the way in the office, man. By the end of the month, I guarantee you will probably hear something about that by February 1st. This seems like they're gung ho ready. Like, all right. Yeah, balls to the walls. Here's 2K for you, like they're Oprah Winfrey or some shit, just giving out some money. So that definitely gonna happen. But to your point, I didn't know if I was bringing this up tonight or on a different show. But yes, you are correct. We have to hold them the same standard I kept talking about. I don't want people to think that I was just bashing on Donald Trump. I said from the jump, and you have to hold Joe Biden to the same standards as well. As the president of the United States, as the chief, commander-in-chief, you have to hold him to that. These representatives and the senators, and you have to hold them to that. People that, they feel like people need to be more educated. That's a big thing. educated on how it kind of works, right? I mean, some of this is kind of basic, right? There's checks and balances. You learned about it probably in your government class in high school.
It's not to cut you off, but a lot of people stopped investing in education, and I'll say, like, I know a lot of like Republicans wanted to make all education privatized. They wanted to get rid of public education, which is fucking bullshit. Because ultimately, what did all the kings, monarchs, and dictators do? They keep the constituents dumb as fuck, so they don't know better, and they stay in the mud. They do not want people to be educated, so that's why we need to invest more in public education, top to fucking bottom. A better educated people will be better at the end of the day. And it's so fucking ridiculous that we have a lot of people in the Republican Party keep siphoning money away from public education, and it's fucking atrocious. North Carolina is one of the bottom states for public education, which pisses me off.
Probably explains the New World Order thing.
Yeah. And my high school is actually, it's ranked very high. I went to it's a public high school. You can look it up, Centennial High School in Ellicott City, Maryland. Look it up. And that's what pisses me fucking off, is to where it seems like you have a lot coming from one party right now, is to where they didn't want people to vote. They didn't want people to get educated. And then you see, like with DJT's son, saying this isn't your Republican Party, this is Donald Trump's Republican Party. That needs to be a wake-up call for Republicans. Yeah. Really, like, it goes back, take a long fucking look in the mirror. And then also, we're going on a little read here, so I do apologize. I totally cut you off like a dickhead.
It's cool.
So I apologize.
That's all right.
So, blue check mark fucktards.
Boom.
Conservative ones are somehow... Oh, fucking shit.
Oh, you foamed it up. God damn. Yeah. You were so aggressive with it. But yes, they've come out in droves. I think that's what you wanted to say.
It's trying to justify or change the subject of today's actions.
Yeah.
It's now Democrats are calling for police brutality on people, blah, blah, blah. It's just like, okay, hold the phone. You guys were already committing to police brutality before. We just wanted you to be consistent. So now you're just a liar. And then they're just trying to change the story. And I hope people that follow these blue check marks, if you follow like I do, I follow them just so like usually I quote retweet them, and I'm just like, you're a fucking asshole. Or like I called Megyn Kelly today a cunt.
Oh, bro, yeah, okay, so yeah, I had just like got home, or I was driving about to leave work, and I like pulled my phone. I'm like, oh wow, yeah, no, BK is in a mood tonight. He is out. He is in a mood. Man, fired up. I love it.
So it was a rough day. And so, and I want to take this opportunity to thank you, to thank my best friend John, to thank my father Steve Kennerly, to thank Garrett. We were talking a little. Thank Elaine, just for talking things through. It was a really rough day. I'm like one, or maybe there's maybe one other person that kind of feels the same way that I do about everything that's happening, and it is the not, a bleeding heart Republican. And so it was just a really tough day for me. But it doesn't really compare to other people that it's been a tough 2020, and so then today really just like. It looked like we were taking a turn to get better. And then today really kind of just like, it's like, what's that meme with Henry Cavill?
Mike says, thanks, Mike. Mike says, thanks, Mike. Oh, shit. Yeah, thanks, Mike. Thanks for the memes.
You are absolutely right, Frankie.
I tell you, yeah, I know, and Frank is correct. Yeah, Biden should make education a national emergency to invest in teachers and schools. Yes, and it'll all go down to what we talked about, where now, 2 weeks, the Democrats are on the clock, and you have to now hold. Listen, you got everything you wanted. If you're Joe Biden, you got the House, you got the Senate. So go out there. There's no fucking excuses. Do what the fuck you want to do. You want to reform healthcare? Now's the time. You want to invest in education? Now's the time. You want to make sure that the people the jobs and everything else, and the economy gets stimulated the way you want to, now's the time. You want to fix police and the way that they'll all operate, nothing's staying in your way. 4 years to do some shit, do something in 4 years, because I swear to fucking God, if 4 years from now I'm sitting here pissed off that Joe Biden didn't do shit, I'm going to be really upset.
Yeah, that would be, we have the October cast 4 years from now, and if we're still super upset, I mean, well, honestly, I don't even want to see America at that point, because it would
fix the fucking Rona. You're right, Mike. I'm so sorry that I forgot about that. Sorry to cut you off, but yes, fix the fucking Rona. Get the vaccines to people, the correct people as well. Let's fucking go. Let's get this shit done. It's 2021. It's 6 days in, they already fucking pissed me off. All right? God damn it. I want the rest of the year to be better. I want to be able to hang out with people and not feel fucking like I'm also a terrorist because I'm around people. I want
big football games coming up next year where like my teams are playing some of your teams and your teams are playing some of P2s. Like, so like there can literally be Amalgamation Nation hits the road podcast where
boom.
You like, see each other and go to fucking games and shit.
Yeah.
Like this can literally happen potentially if things get better.
I want concerts again.
If they don't, like, I don't know, man. Like, going to.
Frank wants to go to Sox games. Yeah, I want to go there too. I'll get drunk with Tony La Russa. Can't wait. It's gonna be great, man. But yeah, pray to God everything gets better here. Like I said, balls in their court. Figure it the fuck out. We got about 2 more weeks of DJT till that bum hits the fucking road, and hopefully I don't have to deal with the Trump family again. But I'm very scared I'll probably have to in 4 years. But I'm praying I don't.
I definitely the sun's gonna run again. Or not run again. You know what I meant.
Yeah.
I think the sun's gonna run. And concerned, if not Ivanka, I think she could run too. It's sad. It's really sad. And not to harp on this, but just it's been a sad day for America and the history books, and I hope you don't forget about it. You brought up a fantastic point in these notes. You're like, so is this like a Tom Clancy game and/or story?
I was waiting for the Division, bro. I was waiting for it.
And, it seems like it could be like the prologue for like a game or book like that. This could really be like the intro. I could see a chapter like today unfolding like that, and that's sad. And honestly, it's scary. In my mind, wandered to dark places because I was like, all right, what if DJT somehow captured power? And then usually what dictators love to do is get rid of all their enemies and people that didn't vote for him.
Yeah,
that would be me.
You were nervy. you were going all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, I was going some dark places, but because I'm not sitting here saying I'm a super smart person, but I do enjoy history and almost majored in history at one point. So I was kind of like, this could go fucking sideways real fucking quick, and
yeah,
oh boy,
yeah, 100%. No, and I just started that Dictator podcast that you told me about, and finished the Benito Mussolini one, and I was like, man. I really
so good, right?
Yeah, I really hope we don't have a Trump episode down the road. But boy,
for everyone out there, podcast. It's this group of people podcast dictators, and it's about 45 minutes, and they have 3 episodes on a different dictator. Mm-hmm. And the first round of dictators they did was World War II. It's really good.
It is. It is very good. It's not our show, but it's very good.
It's hey, podcast supporting podcasts. We gotta, because Elaine's got a podcast. Elaine, what's the name of your podcast? I can't remember. Put it in the chat, and then we'll give you a boost real quick, because I can't remember the name of it right now.
I can't tell you though. I can tell you about the People's XFO. Garrett from Iowa and Midnight X Moose out there. Also, they have a shirt. Garrett, you bought an Amalgamation Nation shirt. Now I have to buy a People's XFL shirt, and I'm about it, so I will do that. I think they're actually live streaming right now. And Mike says to you, BK, especially because we don't fucking learn from history.
By Lane, that's Elaine's podcast, so everyone check that out.
Grace by
Subscribe
Rain
on all your on all your
podcast platforms.
Podcast platforms of choice. The sound, whatever. What's that random ass one? Trombone, sound. I don't know. The whatever one.
Bullhorn.
Whatever. I don't know. Bullhorn, air horn.
Mike says at BK. Especially since we don't fucking learn from history. Mr. Hitler did nothing wrong, shaking my fucking head. And the sad part is that she wasn't the only one in that group of people in the far right who think like that. 100%. That's why you go to school. That's why you learn history, so we don't repeat it. That's why we do these things.
And you never want to get into the whole thought police thing, but there are dangerous thoughts. We can all agree on that. You know?
Yeah.
But that's why I think you do talk them out like this. You have a rational conversation about it. You try to think through your thoughts and like, okay, why am I thinking this? Like, where does this lead? And all those things. So that's why I thank you again for agreeing to do this. And hopefully, over about 60, 70 minutes, roughly.
About an hour and a half, almost. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know, I don't look at clocks apparently.
It's okay. It's okay. Do you have any closing thoughts for everybody before we wrap it up?
My closing thoughts. Stay woke. Nah. Well, yeah, stay woke. I'm guilty of this as well, as to where, and maybe now that I'm 32, to be 33 here in April, is that where in the past few years, I'm trying to become more involved in politics. Mm-hmm. And when I was younger, politics just seemed, I always loved history, but politics always seemed just so like, it always just seemed like such a chore. Everyone got so upset, you know, and passionate and everything. And if I could tell younger me or younger people that are listening, it's just like, just kind of try to work through that, become involved in politics, because that's how the system works, is the constituents, is the people of America being involved in politics, learning, getting kind of gritty, even on the local level, because that's how this stuff starts. And, you know, and that's my closing thought, is just people just, I know politics can be annoying and depressing sometimes, but you really can't avoid it for the most part. You really can't, because like I said, you know, the NBA had to make statements tonight before the game started about everything that happened. I'm kind of surprised that the Wizards are playing tonight.
The group of people that would be mad about that are probably also too busy rioting, so they didn't have to worry about that.
You know, they were definitely upset about Kaepernick kneeling, to the flag, but they had no problem taking down the American, putting a Trump one up. So, I mean, figure that out if you can. I certainly can't, but I'm admittedly not a super intelligent person, so.
Well, what I'll say is I agree, like, you should, you know, everybody should, in some way or form, get involved in politics. And I will say this, if there's anything positive to take away from the last 4 years, is that Trump did something that Bernie and so many other Democrats tried to do, which was engulf this flame into people to get them to want to get out and vote. And I will tell you, for right or wrong, people went out and voted. We had historic numbers. We talked about it after the post-election show, which is great. You know, I myself, also someone very, very much into history, specifically U.S. history, was my specialty. And also extremely, extremely big into politics, because it got me, like, from like I was like 15, 16 years old. I was like, I can't wait to vote. Like, I'm so excited. Like, this is what I want to do. And I got to vote for Mr. Barack Obama when I turned 18. That was super dope. And it's just something that I did this year. I was so proud of my sister and my younger brothers and other people that I know that usually don't give a fuck about this, but really decided to give a fuck, to see all that energy. Because the thing is, We can't just have this energy when we have some fascist piece of shit trying to continue office. We got to have this energy all the time, and not just at your presidential level, but at your local levels too. And there's plenty of sites when it comes down to election season you can inform yourself, such as Ballotpedia. That's usually the one I use to inform yourself and get up to date on those. So let's do that. Let's make sure we're staying active. Be vocal. I saw a lot of people like, take a break. Don't say anything today on your Twitters. No, fuck that. Get out there. You have a platform. I don't care if like only 10 people see my fucking tweet, but I want them to know what the fuck is going on and why it's wrong. So do that too. Be vocal. Keep that same energy, and be safe too. Make sure you're safe.
Stay breezy.
Oh yeah,
stay breezy.
Well, I can't end it with that yet because I gotta tell you to make sure that you find us on Twitter and Instagram at AMNationPod, on YouTube search Amalgamation Nation, also on your podcast platform of choice such as Spotify, Apple, Google, Bullhorn, whatever they are. Go ahead and follow us and sub us on those platforms as well. Just search Amalgamation Nation. If you're looking for merch, it's a pinned tweet on our Twitter at AMNationPod. Otherwise, if you're listening on the podcast, it's in the description. So make sure you do that too. It's got our merch and Undead Red Bull. Tomorrow, I'm gonna say 7:30 Central Time again, but I'd have to talk to everybody still. So we'll shoot for that, or maybe 8 o'clock, somewhere in that range. Game of the Year 2020 show. That's all we're gonna focus on. That's going to be really fun to get together, and we'll come up and we'll have the list will be sent to me, and I'm going to then run through it, and we'll have our show's Game of the Year list. That will be really cool. You can find that on live streams, Twitter, YouTube. Search Amalgamation Nation. I guess if you're friends with me on Facebook too, like I said, if I don't know you, don't add me. That's weird. And I think that's about it. I do have something to take us away as we dip, but I just want to say, like I said, thank you, everybody, for listening. It's been great. Sometimes we have to hash these things out. Make sure you're staying informed and stay breezy. Fuck Donald Trump. Yeah, nigga, fuck.